Good afternoon. It is pre-Memorial Day on a Sunday, and I'm glad that you're here with me this afternoon. I am Reverend Dr. Barry Staples, and welcome again. So glad that you're here, and as I said already, that you're actually part of today's Race and Cultures Bridging the Divides. Race and Cultures Bridging the Divides. If this is your first time being here, this podcast episodes are based upon issues that may be somewhat uncomfortable for some people, but we talk a lot about race and cultures. Race, as defined by many people, especially by me, is just a social construct. And cultures, we all live in many cultures. So I try to combine many aspects of culture, various areas of culture, and bring it together. My major focus has always been on sports, and I also deal with politics, especially in today's society. We're dealing with race and cultures on a daily basis, more so than we ever have. And as I go through each particular episode, I'll be going back and forth talking about certain areas of race and cultures, bridging the divides. And again, I say, welcome. Today's episode is somewhat controversial for some people, but I want to talk about Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White. Last episode, I gave a discussion of Caitlin Clark, number 22, and Stephanie White, a reflection of two number 22s. If you didn't catch that, both Stephanie White and Caitlin Clark wear the number, I'm going to say, bear the number of 22, the number 22. And so I've always been worried, being a pastor also, this has always been something that has always been part of ministry. We have people that get certain things, and we don't know why. Theologically, we say when God gives you a blessing, that is unmerited favor. That is a grace, his unmerited favor. And to break it down on an interpersonal level, I think that a lot of us we talk a lot about, or I hear a lot of people and pundits talk about Stephanie White this, Stephanie White that. She gets no grace at all, no matter how well she does or how terrible she does. I remember somewhere Jesus told some people that he who was without sin cast the first stone. If you think you can do better than Stephanie White, even though she makes mistakes, we all make mistakes. Tell the Indiana Fever you want to coach. Tell the fans that no longer Stephanie White will be there. But if you're truly understanding what we all go through, we need to give people grace. The act of showing kindness, compassions, compassion, or patience. Let me just say that real quickly again. Kindness, compassion, or patience. You know, we have to kind of look at Stephanie White, her situation, and I want to get into some areas about her development and show some compassion or patience. Gets no credit. Last year, for example, Caitlin Clark went out, only played 13 games. They almost made it to the championship series. They almost made it. She got no grace for that. But we have to also have a little patience, even when someone doesn't necessarily deserve it. For example, she may have called a terrible game. Well, let's give her some grace. Maybe she doesn't deserve it because she called a terrible game. Some people call it, let's not throw her under the bus or back the bus and run over her again. Give her some grace. Think about your life. How many of you have messed up and done things, and you begged for grace? You needed grace. Your parents told you to do something you didn't do. Your wife said, "Honey, take out the trash," and you fell asleep watching a football game. You want a little grace, a little, didn't do your honey-do list. We have to understand grace is very, very important. And I want to share with you this discussion of something here. Caitlin Clark was out of a game against the Portland Fire. There was all kind of conspiracies. She got suspended because of previous game against the Storm. She was yelling at the coach. She was doing it. I'm gonna tell you something. I've been an athlete all my life. I still have done. I still do athletic things. There's not an athlete out there that didn't have some kind of disagreement with their coach. Now you show respect still, and even as a martial artist, that's the closest thing I can get. My grandmaster would have us do, you know, his favorite thing was one more time. We do 25 kicks on the left leg. We do 25 on the right one. Each one he would be saying 25 times. Then the next thing you know, we're doing 25 more. That's what is so important. You don't agree with it, but you go through with it. The Indiana Fever may not agree with their coach, but they have to play the game. You have to practice. In the martial arts, you have to keep practicing. So there are all these conspiracy theories. And I was so glad that Caitlin Clark came on and she talked about why and what happened, why she did not play. Now, keep in mind, Caitlin had, and last year, she had a lot of soft tissue injury. You know, she was her ankle, her groin, I mean, excuse me, you name it. She was injured. And so people had all kind of conspiracies. Well, she got suspended probably for one game for her and the coach and all this. But listen to what Caitlin explains to all of us, because she brings it real in this explanation.
Take us through your Tuesday and Wednesday, both regarding your practice and back.
So I woke up Tuesday. I was here. I got treatment, as I've done many practices before, as many of my teammates have done. Had every intention of playing. Didn't indicate I wasn't going to play. Approached Wednesday, if that was the day of our game, as I was 100% playing. Woke up Tuesday, felt a little sore. Texted our training staff, texted my personal physio. Then you want to know what I ate for breakfast too? So then I had a filet.
Y'all want to be all nosy. I'm going to tell you something.
I had potatoes and 2 blueberry waffles with butter and syrup.
Okay.
Then I had PT at home. Then I came down here about like 1 o'clock.
She's got a great sense
tried
of
to do
humor.
everything we can. Got on the court. I lifted. Went through a hard workout. And I actually went back and looked, because of all these narratives that are going crazy online, about when I told my mom I was going to play the game. 4:47. You guys found out at 5:20.
Caitlin.
So one of the most important people in my life found out 40 minutes before you guys.
Told her mama.
That's what my last 2 days leading up to that Wednesday game looked like.
Okay, again, sorry. Who made or what led into the final call for you not to play in that game?
I think at the end of the day, it's me and my confidence. And then obviously I have a great team around me. It's not only me. Like, I trust our medical staff a lot. I have my own personal people that really help me too. And, you know, my sports psych, talk to him a lot too. Like, coming back from injury and having three soft tissues or however many soft tissue injuries is a real mental challenge. I think everybody expects me to be like this. It's not. It's like this.
You tell them,
And
Caitlin.
these are the best players in the world. And if I don't feel 100% confident in my body, like on game 5 of the year, I don't know if that's really worth it in that scenario. I want to play every single game. I want to play 44 games in a season. I'm doing everything I can to do that. I'm putting my body in my best.
Did you guys hear that? She wants to play. Cut all the conspiracy, cut all the thing between her and Stephanie White and everybody else and racism and you name it. Caitlin wants to play the game.
Best position I can to, and I feel really good and really confident in my body, but there's moments where I still struggle a little bit and I get in my head and things like that and I'm sore. Like, that's just the reality of it. You can ask any athlete, you can ask any basketball player, women's basketball players, or any athlete around the country, any professional sport. They'll tell you the same exact thing.
Let's go
Thank
down
you.
line, James Chloe.
Caitlin, in regards to your back, is it something that you anticipate will be ongoing for you?
I mean, I think at this point, maybe I'll need to be listed as soreness on every injury report. You know, my back feels good. I think there's moments where maybe I get in my head a little bit, and that's understandable. Like, I need to have a little grace with myself. I need people to give me a little bit of grace too. You know, when you go through so many things, it becomes a little bit traumatizing too. But I hope it's not something that hinders me. You know, I think I'm doing everything I can.
You heard what she said. Give her a little grace as she even tries to give herself grace. Listen, people, get off the hateful situations. Caitlin's even asking you for grace.
To put myself in the best position I can is recovery wise. I'm continuing to lift, I'm continuing to get massages, hyperbaric, needling, every single thing I can possibly do after games to put myself in a position to play the next game, and I feel really good. It's, like I said, a lot of it is a mental challenge as well, just continuing to trust my body and know I'm good to go as well.
And to follow up on that, is there a pain threshold there, like this is too much, whatever the case may be, where you do have to push it? Because
I think it depends on what part of the season you're in, absolutely. And I think I consider all those things. I think also having done that quite a bit last year is something that is.
Okay, you get the drift. You understand what she is saying. Grace is sufficient, folks. Your grace has to be sufficient. Give her grace. Give Stephanie White some grace. Now, we need to ask ourselves, why do we get on Stephanie White? She didn't just, find her out on Interstate 65 going to Indianapolis. Well, you want to coach this team? Stephanie White has come from a long way all her life as a player and a coach. And I'm just going to say this. There's a lot of professional coaches. You look at the coach from the Green Bay Packers, he went to the Seahawks, McCarthy. Now he lost his job. People doubting him out. People using Dave Wannstedt from the Bears. I'm from Chicago, and so most of my analogy goes to that black and blue division with the coaches and stuff. But you get the understanding. Every coach tries to do the best they can. But who is Stephanie White? Who is Stephanie White? We need to look at this for a quick second. Stephanie White is an elite basketball figure, Indiana native, whose career spans from a record-breaking high school phenom to a national champion at Purdue, a WNBA player, and an award-winning professional and collegiate head coach. This is Stephanie White. So as you're throwing her under the bus and throwing shade at her, she is not something that you can look. I've seen clips of her playing in high school in basketball. She was no slouch. She wasn't Caitlin Clark, but the girl could hoop. As I said in one of my inclusions here, the girl could hoop. And some people say she could ball out. In high school, she was a consensus superstar at Seeger High School in West Lebanon, Indiana. National recognition, was named Indiana Miss Basketball Gatorade National Player of the Year and USA Today National Player of the Year in 1995. She had scoring records. She's at the Indiana High School Association scoring record of 2,869 career points. She played college at Purdue National Championship, while she led the Boilermakers to their first ever NCAA Women's National Championship. I'm not throwing shade at Caitlin. Caitlin made it to the championship game, but guess what? Stephanie won the national championship. She has honors also. She won the Wade Trophy and Honda Sports Award as the nation's as the top college player, along with being named Big Ten Player of the Year. Think about it. She graduated with 2,182 points from Purdue, 671 rebounds. She could get up there and crash the boards. I saw some of her clips, and she could pass, 582 assists, 277 steals, and was later inducted into the Purdue Athletics Hall of Fame. Purdue, incidentally, is another place one of my favorite players played at, Rick Mount. Rick Mount. Across down the road a little bit, there was Austin Carr. I'm telling you, she came from an elite basketball school when she played. Her NBA playing career, she was drafted by the Charlotte Sting as number 21 in 1999, but then she had a tenure with the Indiana Fever coach, where she is right now. In 2000, she spent 4 seasons in Indianapolis before retiring in 2004. So then she had a coaching career, assistant coach at Ball State, Kansas State, and Toledo. WNBA assistant for 7 years, under the Chicago Sky, and also before returning to the Fever, which she helped guide the team to 2012 WNBA championship. Think about that. As an associate head coach, I think that was what Dunn was the coach there at the time. So Indiana head coach she was from 2014 to 16. She led the Fever to the WNBA finals in 2015, becoming the first rookie head coach in league history to do so. I'm trying to tell you, give her some grace. She was also at Vanderbilt. People always want to throw shade about this. She was at Vanderbilt, transitioned to the college ranks to Commodores for 5 seasons. She didn't have the greatest record, but a lot of coaches don't have a great record at the collegiate level. I won't go and try to name them all, but then she coached Connecticut's Sun and won the WNBA Coach of the Year that year in 2023. That's only 3 years ago, and led the Sun to consecutive playoff runs. People want to give her a bunch of shade about she had to leave she left the Connecticut Sun, got out of her contract. She was having some things going on with her family. People want to criticize that and give her some grace. And she's been with the Fever. She returned back to the Fever in 2024 to the current time. That's Stephanie White. So let's give her some grace, folks. She is not someone who has never seen a basketball court. She can play. She's got records. She's been in, the Hall of Fame. She is in the Hall of Fame. That's Stephanie White. She's paid her dues. She's paid her dues. So let's look at the records here. Stephanie White. I like this picture. As a player, look at this. I just mentioned all this. She was drafted 21st, 1999. Big Ten, no, I didn't say this part here. 1999 Honda Sports Award, NCAA National Champion. She won the national championship. Look at that focus in that picture. She's a number 22. She's looking at the hoop. And I'm telling you, I've seen highlights of her play. The girl has skills. She has some serious skills. Big Ten Athlete of the Year. A lot of the same awards that Caitlin has. Of course, Caitlin just got everything. USA Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, Miss Indiana. I mean, that's Stephanie White. Give her some grace, folks. Caitlin even asked for grace in so many situations. Give her some grace. So I wanted to just share that with you today about Stephanie White's player. Then we have Caitlin. Caitlin had a lot of different accolades too as a player. Let me see if I can find some things. But so Caitlin, she's got a lot of different awards too when she played. So we all know where she stands. We've seen her her stats, and I just want to say that I don't have it up here, but she the leading scorer. I did it last episode. She's all-time leading scorer in NCAA history for men and women, breaking Pete Maravich's record. I showed that in the last episode. And so she's a leading scorer in the entire NCAA, men and women. You can't make this stuff up because it's true. She did everything. So then we see Stephanie as a coach. And, I like that. I like this. Every time I see her with a leather jacket on, I don't get this twisted. I think about Fonz. Hey, hey. But look, she's studious and everything, but she could hoop. All the people criticizing her, I challenge any one of you to go get on the court with Stephanie, especially in her prime, and see if you could out-hoop her. Because the woman could ball out. I'm trying to tell you. That's her. Coach Stephanie White. Yeah, yeah. You give people their flowers. You give people their flowers. So as a coach, wait a minute. So let me go back here. So we have Now she's in coach mode here. She took off her leather jacket. She took off her leather jacket. She got her head back. I'm a coach now. I'm gonna wear my hat backwards. And you can see I've mentioned these before. As a coach, she was at Ball State 2003, Kansas State, Toledo, coach at Toledo, Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, goes on and on. She is not someone that just fell off the turnip truck, folks. I'm not trying to throw any kind of ethnophobism or racist kind of statement, but it's just a euphemism, people might say. But anyway, she just is a coach. Give her some grace. Give her a chance. She's only been at Indiana, her second year now? I mean, it's give her a chance. And I tell you what, she's a lot different than Christy Sides. So give her some grace. And so she also, I want to just share something with you. Now they have this thing that's been going around about what the owners will say, what they pick her as one of the top coach and all that kind of thing. Well, I hate to tell you this, the person who got number 30 in that position, they picked Reeves from the Lynx, then they picked Becky Hammond, then they picked Nakaska, I'm hoping I'm not saying her name wrong, for the Valkyries who they played the other day. But look at what this statement is. Look what this statement says. This is what she gives people grace. Stephanie says, I've had the incredible fortune of being mentored by some of the greatest coaches and leaders in our game, being able to pay it forward and pass on those lessons to assistant coaches, players, and young leaders in our sport truly fills my cup. That's almost a biblical thing, oh Lord, if I can take this cup from me. But you just think about that. This is how she's shown her humbleness. She's shown her humbleness. And I thought about this. I've never really heard Stephanie White say anything bad about anyone either, just like Caitlin. So this is Stephanie White. Don't get it twisted, folks, but do give her some grace. Give her some grace and try to understand the person that you are dealing with. Caitlin Clark, like I mentioned her college statistics. I mean, she was doing her historic 4-year career. She scored 3,951 points. That's pretty amazing. And then you can see the points per game, her average. She had her assists, rebounds, 28.4. First player in division history to achieve at least 3,800 points, 1,000 assists, 950 rebound, a guard going crashing glass like that. 3-pointers made, 548, division record, milestone highlights. She just amazing accolades for her. That's Caitlin Clark. So you see that both she and Stephanie, number 22s, as I said, number 22s have something in common. That's why this is a reflection of two number 22s, very close in terms of their commitment to the game and what Stephanie White says, how she feels about other players and everything like that. So you want to know how Caitlin Clark, and let me see if this is the one.
Clark just proves Stephanie White isn't the problem. So here's something people are missing.
to
Everyone's been blaming Stephanie White, but in the last game, Caitlin Clark's interaction with her didn't look toxic at all. No
Listen to that.
tension, no frustration, nothing that screams bad relationship. And that matters, because if Caitlin really had an issue, you'd see it. Instead, it looks like there's some level of respect there. So maybe we've been overreacting. Maybe the real problem isn't just coaching. Maybe it's bigger than that. Maybe
Look
it's
at
the
that.
system, the the organization, or even the league itself? Be honest, is Stephanie White really the problem, or are we missing the bigger picture? Did Caitlin Clark just prove Stephanie
Watch this
White
again.
isn't the problem? So here's something people are missing. Everyone's been blaming.
They want to blame Stephanie White. And I'm going to tell you right now, where's your grace? You know, some of you get out there and act like you're a better coach than Stephanie White and see how well you do. But you can see in that clip, Stephanie and Caitlin are showing one another grace and have a positive interaction. And I just think that sometimes we get it all twisted here. Now, one of the things that I will say that was a game that Caitlin didn't play that she was talking about, where she was out of uniform on that first clip, and they both had on their black outfits. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but then you can see them embrace, and it's an incredible coach-player relationship. Both of them want to win. Both of them want to win. I hope this is the right clip here. I want you to see this here.
Moment. Did Stephanie White just figure out?
Okay, this is what I want you to see. Okay. I know I mentioned before how people want to get on Stephanie White in terms of how she's coaching the team, but she's changed some things. I was just telling someone when she first got there, she had like a half court offense. Wasn't very creative, but I used to always say she's got a bunch of thoroughbreds on that team. You got a thoroughbred like Secretariat, Ruffian, Seabiscuit, Foolish Pleasure, whatever the case might be. You got to let those horses run, and she's let them out. Even the coach of the Valkyries say they play fast, and with Caitlin, she's a thoroughbred. So listen to what this clip talks about.
Stephanie White finally made the right call, and it changed everything. For the first time in a while, it actually looked like she was coaching to win. She benched the players who were hurting the team. No hesitation. Monique Billings pulled. Ty Harris out. Dana's not in the rotation.
Okay, I'll just say, missing layups, consistently missing layups, not facilitating the ball or shooting well, putting your team in jeopardy, being a big, not rebounding, playing no defense. Stephanie got serious, and she figured out, I'm going to play people that are going to help this team.
And guess what happened? The Fever started playing better. This is what fans have been asking for. Accountability. Not forcing rotations.
Give her some
Not
grace.
sticking with struggling players. Just making the right decisions in the moment. Did Stephanie White just figure out?
Yes, she did. So I just want you to recognize, give her some grace. You know, let those horses run. She's doing it, folks. And I tell you, in that game against the Valkyries, now there's a clip that I think they pulled, and I think it was pulled by the league. The coach of the Valkyries made an interview statement. They said, what was your plan against for Caitlin Clark? She said, our plan was, we noticed she didn't like to be physical. We plan on getting physical with her, and we played her physical on purpose. On purpose. That's what they did. And you saw what happened. And this leads up to some of the things that Caitlin experienced her first year, where people were, I call it bum rushing her. People, there's other terms, where they rush her 3 and 4 players at a time for 94 feet. J.C. Sheldon is a notorious one. But watch what happened in the Valkyries game, and they were trying to do that same thing. But this is very important.
This moment was wild. Caitlin Clark pulls up from deep logo range. Bang. Game
Bang.
tied just like that. She turns around hyped and starts jawing at Tiffany Hayes. But Hayes wasn't having it at all. She stepped right back up talking trash too. You could feel everything getting super tense. Then Myisha Hines Allen rushes in before it goes too far. That's real competitive fire right there.
Now, did you catch that? Caitlin was playing her game, and all these players, I don't want to get into saying things um, like certain other people uh, say with certain names about certain players, but there's a group of players that think they can just bully Caitlin because she is a little more unique.
This moment was wild. Caitlin Clark.
Did you guys see that? Go back here. Okay, right there. That's what had to happen. Sophie Cunningham, when Sheldon and Marina Mayberry did what they did, there was no one like standing up, defending their own teammate. Defending their own teammate. Hines Allen, she said, not on my watch. You're not coming after our player, CC. She got into Tiffany Hayes' grill and stood between them, trying to, no, you're not going to do this.
Wild. Caitlin Clark pulls up from deep logo range. Bang. Game tied just like that. She turns around hyped and starts jawing at Tiffany.
Now, Caitlin knows how to talk trash too. That's part of playing the game. But when you get physical and trying to hurt someone, like a lot of these young ladies have done to Caitlin, which I think led to a lot of her having to only play 13 games of her second season.
Hayes. But Hayes wasn't having it at all. She stepped right back up talking trash too. You could feel everything getting super tense. Then Myisha Hines Allen rushes in before it goes too far. That's real competitive fire right there.
That was a nice dime she threw to Sophie. So you see the deal here. Caitlin has got some enforcers besides Sophie Cunningham. She is playing her game and she plays it at a very, very high level. Give Stephanie White some grace. Give Caitlin some grace, you other players out there. You got to keep it real. Caitlin is a phenom. She's, as they say, she's a generational player, and we have to look at it as such. And then we have situation that people often say, well, Stephanie White doesn't give Caitlin any praise. She doesn't, everything's going to Kelsey Mitchell and all those kinds of things. Well, there might be some truth to that, but she's also giving Kelsey Mitchell some praise, giving her some praise, but give Stephanie White some grace. Now, I want you to listen to what Stephanie White is saying about Caitlin.
I thought she was great. She's an emotional player, and it's one of the things that makes her great.
This
And
after
I
the
thought that she
Valkyrie
channeled
game.
it in a way that needed to be channeled for us to be successful, and she handled it well. And from a physicality standpoint, I love the way that she's going to the rim and finishing tough plays. And I thought her defense was really good.
You hear that term all the time. Physicality. Stop the prison ball. Stop the sandlot ball. Show your skills. They formed a committee for these refs to clean up their act and call games like basketball is supposed to be played. And that has happened. This last game against the Valkyries, I don't know who this brother was one of the refs, but he was awful. And she mentioned the word physicality. In that game, the Valkyries coach had them geared up to play physical. They removed that interview that she did. She talked about specifically to target Caitlin Clark. She said, because she doesn't like it to be physical. And they tried to be physical, and Caitlin burned them all,
So I thought she was good. I thought she was.
Go ahead. Let's hear this again.
I thought she was great. She's an emotional player, and it's one of the things that makes her great. And I thought that she channeled it in a way that needed to be channeled for us to be successful, and she handled it well. And from a physicality standpoint, I love the way that she's going to the rim and finishing tough plays. And I thought her defense was really good. So I thought she was good.
Two things that she said there. When push came to shove, they said Caitlin is only a 3-point shooter, but Caitlin can do so many things. Great passer. She can just ball out, period. So you saw Stephanie White give her some grace. She gave Caitlin a lot of grace with her props. And so how well is Caitlin doing this year? How well is she doing after 6 games? The greatness of Caitlin Clark, CC. First in points, first in assists, third in blocks, a guard, fourth in rebounds, a guard, fourth in 3 points made. Now, I will say something for having first in assists. She would have even more assists if they would catch the ball and finish. I mean, you have to keep your head on a swivel playing with this young lady. After 6 games, she's already broken more records. Even in the first game of the year, she broke a lot of records. So this is CC. I love that name, CC. So people need to give Stephanie White some grace. And this is something that I want to close out on. This is from Stephanie, and she has 2 players that really are I think the essence of this basketball team. I'm not throwing shade against other players like Lexi, Sophie, the new player, Johnson. I'm always forgetting to say her first name. And all the other players, they're just as wonderful. But this is something that I thought was very incredible. You talk about grace. So this was Stephanie feels about players, and she has Leah Boston and Caitlin with her. I don't know what this wearing black stuff is. They all would like to wear black. I should call them the Indiana Fever Cashettes, like Johnny Cash, I'm trying to crack a joke today. But pouring into people, these are a lot of biblical kind of things, Stephanie says. Definitely Caitlin, definitely Leah. They use a lot of scriptural things in their talk. Just keep that in mind. Like you hear people say, pour into someone. But pouring into people, inspiring, providing opportunities, and helping instill confidence and belief in themselves. That's a very gratifying part of what I get to do every day. Give her some grace. Because she's approaching her team with that quote there. That is approaching them with grace. So for all the people out there that are on this bandwagon of hating Stephanie, step back, give her some grace. You've done it for Steve Kerr. You've done it for other coaches, Phil Jackson. You've done it for Danny Ainge. You've done it for other players, Becky Hammond, other coaches. You've done it for so many people, Cheryl Miller. Give Stephanie White some grace. I just always like this phrase, I'm doing the best I can with what I got. So remember, this is Race and Cultures, Bridging the Divides. And we don't have that barcode up there where you can donate. But for the right now, until we get some other things, you can go to our website, Race and Cultures, Bridging the Divides. And there's a donate button there if you be wanting to donate to this podcast. And that'd be greatly appreciated so we can pour into other people to give them things that they don't have, like, food, clothing, that type of thing. But once again, I thank you for being with me today, and I think all of you should give yourself an applause joining us today and holiday weekend. Memorial Day is coming up tomorrow. And thank you again for being with me. And God willing, I'll see you again very soon. Bye bye.